To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the nomadic lifestyle, click the subscribe button. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Many of the subscribers that have been with me for a very long time will know that I have spent the first 2 years of my nomadic experience in the East. And when I say East, I'm pretty, South Dakota East is pretty much where I was, talking about. Florida, we've been to Florida, Virginia, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, South Dakota, Missouri, Texas. I had told everybody that I was not ready to come out to the West area, Arizona specifically, because so many people told me I had to come out to Arizona. It almost became like a culture war or some sort of battle between the East Coast and the West Coast nomads. And I just couldn't understand why people were getting so offended that I didn't want to come out west. Well, don't knock it until you try it. I hear that so many times. I did a lot of research about going out west. The difficulties, finding resources sometimes. We had AT&T internet, and back then everybody said AT&T internet wouldn't work out here. So that meant we would have to spend more money to get Verizon, which we eventually did. There were actually people who had threatened me, telling me not to talk bad about Arizona. Nobody wants you out here because you can't say anything nice about Arizona. And I was flabbergasted. It's not that I said anything bad about Arizona. I just kept saying I wasn't ready. So anytime I made a video about a problem that I experienced in the East, criminal behavior or trashed up campgrounds, or people would say, come out west. You're not going to find that problem out here. It's great out here. It's perfect. A real sales pitch by so many people. I'm not even talking about YouTubers. I mean, I know YouTubers really promote the Arizona, Quartzsite, Flagstaff area, but this is the van groups. I mean, it was everybody. When I got out here, I made a video and I said, well, it's more expensive. There was a few downsides initially when I got out here that I wanted to point out. It's beautiful, it works out great, but you really got to be experienced in order to come out to in this case, it was the Grand Canyon. We had to learn how to filter rainwater, stream water, all kinds of things. And so I made that video. A guy who had been following me for a very long time. I mean, I really thought that, we were kind of Facebook friends for whatever that is. And when I made that video, he just went ballistic on me. He was so angry that I would talk negative about Arizona. Well, now I've been out here, and I've been out here the entire summer. So I want to make a comparison between East Coast and West area nomadic living. I mean, both have their ups and downs. On the East, like in Mississippi and Florida, people are very friendly, very friendly. And if you're an introvert like me and Carolyn, you're not really all that interested in talking to people for hours on end sometimes. They'll start up a conversation, and before you know it, you're talking about, space travel or, whatever. And it just goes on, and it's just uncomfortable for us. Well, out here on the West, I don't think we've talked to anybody, to be honest. It's been quite pleasurable, which kind of reminds me of when we were in Virginia, which again is in the East. Nobody really talked to us in Virginia. Water. Now, water is kind of interesting. On the East, you can find a lot of campgrounds in the national forest. Now, when I talk about campgrounds, it's dispersed camping, but there are areas that the National Forest has set up, just like here in Utah. We were in Utah. They set up specific areas for you to camp at. It's not a campground, it's more like a campsite. Well, in the East, you can find a lot of campgrounds, or these campsites, I guess I should say, that you can walk, 100 yards or so with a bucket, fill up your bucket with water. Water is really easy to find. And so I used to complain a lot, and now I regret that I ever complained, I guess, that it was difficult sometimes to find water. But as a new nomad, water is very important to you because you haven't learned how to collect rainwater and that kind of stuff. Well, when you come out west, I haven't seen any campgrounds, camp spots, dispersed camping that came with water. You have to drive to town to get the water. That being said, I will say that finding water in the West has been easy for us. But that being said, I have also learned after 2 years of experience that there's this new app called iOverland, and it really helps you find water. Without that app, it would still be pretty difficult to find water. Crime. being uncomfortable, feeling unsafe. I felt very safe everywhere we have went in the West. Again, I think that kind of goes with the attitude of we're not going to bother each other out here. Now on the East, I didn't feel very uncomfortable most everywhere we went except Florida. Florida does have kind of an issue with crime out in the national forest. And you can Google it. As a matter of fact, type in Google Apalachicola National Forest Rainbow Group. If you go to Osceola National Forest in Florida and you type in Rainbow Group, Osceola has nothing good to say about the Rainbow Group. But again, in Virginia, I didn't feel unsafe. South Carolina, Mississippi, none of those areas I felt unsafe. As a matter of fact, in Mississippi, we went to an area and there was a lot of teenagers who would come down to the beach every night and party just really hard. Yes, it was annoying. They really made a lot of noise. But even at that, I never felt unsafe. So I would say that Arizona is pretty good with safety if you want to come out for safety. Here's the thing I'm really upset about with the West. I actually think you could catch a deadly disease out here in the West, in the national forests and the BLMs. It is absolutely disgusting. I've made 3 other videos where I've discussed this. In the East, the entire time, my 2.5 years living out there as a nomad, I only saw one pile of human waste. It was on a trail, and what apparently had happened was somebody just couldn't make it. But I have told you that we have been to 3 different areas, including this one, that is just everywhere. The first spot we went to in Utah, I spent the day burying human waste. Toilet paper everywhere, and it was just nasty. Walked down the hill a ways, and again, it was even worse. I mean, this thing was just a toilet. I couldn't even hardly breathe. That's how much waste was there. Well, then you come out here, and if you were to walk in this grass, I would pretty much guarantee that you would step in human waste. That's just how bad it is. And there are deadly diseases that come in human waste, hepatitis. And so I would warn you that you get your vaccinations because it's pretty serious. I've never seen it this bad. So thanks for watching. Click like if you like video, and happy travels.